Inseminoid is another one of those low-budget alien ripoffs. However, if you ask the writers, they'll tell you that they had never seen that movie before working on Inseminoid. The verdict's out if you believe them or not, but it got all the way to Fox Studios, who watched it and then declared that this movie is in fact not an alien ripoff. They even said Inseminoid was good given the budget. Now, I'm curious. We gotta watch this. Okay, so first, you get a little backstory. I assume we have humans out exploring the cosmos, and they just so happen to discover a planet with 2 suns. Despite this, however, the average temperature is 89 degrees below zero. However, underground, in the vast cave systems of the planet, it's habitable. But are they still inhabited is the question. Let me just start off by saying there's a ton of people in this movie, and for the most part, they all look pretty similar. So forgive me if I mix up someone's name. It gets pretty confusing. Ricky and Dean are out exploring, finding some cool-looking crystals. They split up, Dean heading deep inside the cave, seeing a glowing rock, and moves in for a closer look. When it explodes! They rush him to the infirmary, where the doc can start working. He notices that he's clutching something in his hand. The crystals.
I want to know what kind of crystals these are.
They speculate about the previous inhabitants of the planet and what their lives would have been like. Mitch is something like the crew's historian, and Holly is the leader. Elsewhere, Mark here is asked to check on some electrical problems at the lab, where he meets with Sandy. They're something of a thing, I guess, and take the opportunity to knock one out, instead of, looking into the electrical problems. Ricky is starting to go nuts, either from the explosion, the crystals, or something else got into his blood. The movie's not really sure, but the one thing that I'm sure of is Ricky's nuts. He goes around fighting his crewmates and stealing carts. Honestly, it looks like fun. This chick Gail finally catches up to him, and she gets her foot stuck in the fight. She can't move, they can't close the airlock, and her temperature regulator's broken. Remember, it's minus 89 degrees outside, and she won't last long. Desperate and unable to fix the regulator, she's forced to pull a Dr. Gordon from Saw and do some drastic measures. But here's the thing, she's never talked about again. I'm assuming she's dead, so she cut off her foot for nothing? Kate here comes face to face with Ricky and shoots him. At least she has the balls to do what no one else would do. The doctor knows that something drove Ricky to madness, and he's wondering just what it was. So a small crew consisting of Mitch and Sandy are sent out to investigate. But things don't go so well. Something runs by and kills Mitch, and then kidnaps Sandy. They put her on a table, naked. I don't like where this is going. But we do get a good look at the aliens, which admittingly look pretty cool. They start pumping her full of, something. Seeing how she's a female, I'm guessing they're impregnating her with alien babies. She wakes up, back with her friends, and after an examination, the doctor confirms it. She is indeed pregnant. Now, they try, I give them that. The audience wonders if the alien thing was all a dream or not. Because remember, Sandy and Mark knocked boots in the lab. It is possible she has a normal human baby. But come on, I've seen enough of these movies to know what's happening. Sandy gets up in a trance and starts her killing rampage. First, it's this rando. Then she goes after Holly, who has to pull the old Donkey Kong throw barrels trick at her, which doesn't work. After this, Sandy goes around smashing all the cameras and killing more people. The guys step in to stop her, punching her in the face. But it does nothing, and she's able to fight back, showing her new impressive strength. When they get a minute to themselves, the team comes up with ways to kill Sandy. Kate suggests blowing her up, which is a bit extreme, but I like where your head's at, Kate. The doctor thinks that he could give her an injection to make her pass out. Then they can sedate her until this all blows over. A good idea, but don't forget Sandy's strength, and she's able to overpower him, knocking him back into a heat gun, burning him. But worse yet, Sandy gets her hands on the gun and shoots Holly. So I guess they're dead. Mark and Kate are next, with Sandy tackling Kate. But by stepping on Sandy's stomach, Mark's able to find her weakness, and they get away. Gary now comes in to confront her, fighting her with that saw, but when that doesn't work, he squirts her with a fire extinguisher to make his escape. He's outside the airlock, where he thinks he's safe, but then Sandy comes in, and guess what? She can now breathe in the alien atmosphere. That's not good. She opens his mask, then goes down on him, but not in a good way. After that, it looks like it's time for Sandy to finally have her babies. She gives birth and then decides that she's not done killing yet and goes to find the survivors, leaving her babies for Mark to take and set up Sandy for a trap. It doesn't take long for her to see what happened, and now she's ticked off. No! She eventually catches up to him and bites Mark's leg. A little weird, but then Kate shows up and she's tossed a bomb, messing up her leg. What's up with this movie and legs? First, Gail cuts hers off, and now this. Mark ends up falling through the floor, making it easy for Sandy to catch him. A fight breaks out, but this time Mark wins, strangling Sandy. Mark slowly limps back to Sharon, only to see that the babies have already helped themselves. "28 days later, a crew comes to investigate their disappearance, finding all the dead bodies. They think they're alone, but we see that that's not the case. And that was Inseminoid. Low budget, super predictable, but still fun. With parts like the lady who cut her foot off for no good reason and not bringing up those crystals ever again, you can really tell that the script was rushed, being written in only 4 days, which is impressive, but I think they could have used a few more proofreadings. I thought Sandy's acting was fine, but some of the other characters weren't very good, which kind of took you out of the mood a bit. The music is cheap, being mostly synth, but it was effective. Where the movie really shined were the sets. They filmed in Chislehurst Cave, and the extra work of moving the lighting and the cameras made the final product worth it. One last thing to mention are the aliens themselves. You don't see them nearly enough, but what glimpse you do get, and then the babies at the end, were effective. I liked them, they looked cool. All in all, Inseminoid is only worth a watch if you enjoy B-movie alien ripoffs. Even if it really isn't a ripoff, it still feels like it. I give it 2 foots cut off for no reason out of 4.